Hello, my fellow chatterers and book lovers. And anyone else who's popped in because you're curious, we've got a bit lost. Welcome, everyone. I'm Chatty, and welcome to my channel, Chatty's Mad Chatter, where I'm going to be chatting away madly about my book boxes, or book subscriptions, I suppose. So I subscribe to two. I subscribe to Fairyloot, which is a YA fantasy, and the books are beautiful. They have sprayed edges, they have a slightly different cover with art on the end pages. Sometimes there's a little bit more to it than that as well, but generally you get at least those. And then a few collectible items as well, so it's a lot of fun. And the second one I subscribe to is Shelterbox. Yeah, is the Shelter Book Club. It's not a box. And they post you a book every 6 weeks in the post, and they have sort of like a book club with live shows and things that you can join in on, and they also let you know about the charity work they're doing around the world with Shelter. So they tend to be stories around the world, from sort of different authors from all over the world. So two different vibes. And one of my goals for 2023 was to read more of them because I've got a lot stacked up. So I'm going to be looking at the 2022 stack of books. So I have them here. So I have a year's worth of Fairyloot, which I'm going to hold up in two separate piles. I've already seen my camera's just slipped. Okay, so this is the first half. This is January down to June. Quite nice colour range on here. I've got some mixtures, and there's the end pages. Look, you can see again, quite bright visual there. Second half of the year, a bit darker on the second half of the year. I have to say I prefer the first half in terms of appearance, just because I like more of a brightness. So there we go, we've got a bit of a darker, they're mainly black covers, and all of the edges, they are not quite as bright and vibrant. And quite pleasingly, I have read a quarter of these books. And then this is my Shelterbox. So because it's every 6 weeks I've got 8 books from the year. So this is the first one we received all the way down to the bottom. And again, pleasingly, I've read a quarter of these. So what I thought would be fun was I'm going to predict what I think my ranking of them is going to be. So I'm going to do Fairyloot and then I'm going to do Shelter, in terms of which one I think I will enjoy the most to which one I will enjoy the least. And I'm going to include the ones I've already read in there as kind of a place marker, because there was one that I've read which I loved, one which I really enjoyed, and one which I didn't. So I'm going to be placing those in. The same for Shelter. Out of the two that I've read, I've one absolutely loved, and another one that I enjoyed. So, but probably won't reread. So I've got sort of a bit of a baseline to put them on, and then hopefully when I've read more of them by the end of the year, I will reflect and see how well I know myself, or think I know my reading tastes. So I thought that might be quite fun. And because Fairyloot are renowned for their beautiful books, I thought I would show you their under the dust jacket. So I do a naked comparison of all of them, a sprayed edges comparison, and an end pages comparison. So you get to see all of them together. And then I do an overall, which one is the prettiest? And the same for Shelter, like which book cover do I like the best? So we can appreciate the artwork as well and the design. So that I feel is going to be a lot of fun. I've no idea how long this video is going to be. But as always, it is one shot. The camera keeps rolling. There is no editing, because that's how I do things on my channel. So cheers, everybody. Clink, clink, clink. Let's prepare for chaos. I have a little thing of notes because my brain is a little bit slushy, and I've already decided what my order is in terms of my enjoyment of the stories. No idea in terms of which one I think is the most visually appealing, but I thought that might be fun to do as we wing it. Was there anything else I wanted to say? I don't think so. So yeah, I've got my little notebook to check in with. Let's crack on. Apologies if I keep rubbing my eyes, because I've been swimming today and I've got like a lot of chlorine in my eyes and they feel like quite weird. That kind of like dry, slightly stingy, but not completely actual stingy. I don't know, have not got enough moisture in them. That's what I mean. I need to keep blinking. So that's what all the weird eye movements are about. Right. So the January book for Fairyloot is Only a Monster by Vanessa Len. And so this is the book. And this is one that I have actually read. So this book is has got time travel in, which was a lot of fun. Really enjoyed that. There's a kind of a magical world kind of underneath our world, and there's different clans, and there's like a history to it, and there's sort of like family histories of like certain like monster families within here. And there are three, there's a protagonist and then two sort of other main characters in here, and you're not entirely sure of the motives of some of them or which way it's going to go. So it was all very intriguing. And I did enjoy this one. This is the one that I enjoyed. I enjoyed it a lot, and I'm really looking forward to picking up the second one to seeing where the story goes. So I'll just give you a closer look at the book, just so you can appreciate it in all its glory. So if I take off the dust jacket, we have some lovely purple foiling on here. And we have one of the characters in this mermaid figure, which is one of the family's symbol. And then on the spine, it's all in purple. And then the sprayed edges are purple with a clock, because it's about time travel. And purple right around the ends. And then we have the end pages. We have two of our main characters here having a chat over a cup of tea. And then we have our three characters here all dressed for a ball. Always a bit of ball action going on, which is fun. And this is it's an urban fantasy, because it's based in a city. Just going to pop the cover back on now. Right. So I'm going to place it on my shelf. I'm just checking where I put it. Okay, cool. And I have written the numbers in terms of their months, not in terms of, so I've got to do some counting now. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is in 8th place. I'm just going to put it here for now, and I'll put books either side. Okay, the February one from Fairyloot was The Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Su Lin Tan. And this is the cover. That's what I was going to do. I was going to talk about like the little tag things as well. Not the tags. See, slushy brain. This is what I mean by slushy brain. I was going to talk about sort of like the little buzzwords that they kind of put on the book cover. Okay, so on the back, they often like put like, so we've got 4 sentences on here to kind of give you a taste of the book. So it says, don't forget the rule. No one can know what we are, what you are. You must never tell anyone about monsters. There we go. So that's Only a Monster. Right, moving on to The Daughter of the Moon Goddess now. Okay, so here we go. Here's The Daughter of the Moon Goddess. This is the book, and we haven't got any sort of like taglines on here. We've just got a retelling inspired by the Mid-Autumn legend written on the cover. So this is a Chinese mythology inspired story. Again, there is a female protagonist and then 2 male characters, but I don't really know any more than that. I think there is romance in here. In fact, I'm pretty certain there is romance in here. and there are links to Chinese folklore, but it's inspired by rather than a retelling of. And that is all I know, because this is not one of the ones I have read yet, and I like to go into my books knowing as little as possible about it. So I will always link the Storygraph links to the books, so you can look in the description box. If you want to know a better synopsis than the one I'm giving to give you more of an idea of what this book's about, then you can click that and it will take you to Storygraph, where it will tell you all of that, plus trigger warnings as well, which is always good. So let's have a closer look at the Daughter of the Moon Goddess. And it is very, very pretty. So again, let's take off the cover. So we have a white cover with gold foiling of our 3 characters on here, and then we have the spine again, the gold foiling, and then we have beautiful stenciling around the edges, and we have beautiful Chinese pagoda, cherry blossoms, is it called koi carp, in the sort of water lilies and little bridge, and we have 2 characters. We have our protagonist and another character. I believe they are drinking. No, they're not drinking tea, they are reading. And then there's a little table set up with some tea on it. And then the other end pages, it is now night. We have 2 characters again. I don't know if it's the same character or not. And we have lots of water lilies lighting up a river, and we have a moon in the sky as well. Okay, now Daughter of the Moon Goddess, I haven't read. And I have heard the majority of people, some people, I think they had high expectations and it didn't meet them, but for the majority of people, really, really enjoyed this book. So I'm aware that it is sort of like a fantasy romance, and that it is inspired by one then retelling of the Legend of the Moon Goddess, and obviously it's about her daughter. So I feel I've got those expectations set. But I do feel that I'm really going to like this one. So I have put this in the #1 spot for enjoyment. So I think it's going to be my favourite because of all the good things I've heard about it. So I'm excited. Yes. So that's where that one's going. Okay, then we have March's book is The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea by Axio. This is another one that where I had heard of the book before receiving it. So I hadn't heard of Only a Monster, I had heard of Daughter of the Moon Goddess, and with both the Daughter of the Moon Goddess and this one, I was so excited opening the box. I had sort of like a book orgasm opening the box, because I just could not believe that these were books that I wanted to physically go out and buy myself, and they were part of the Fairyloot box, which meant they came in beautiful editions, so I was beyond thrilled. And again, they did a really wonderful job with this artwork on this cover. So this is another inspired by folklore, and this is Korean folklore, and it's to do with fates, and we've also got like an underwater kingdom in here, and sort of like the sacrifice of someone for their community. And that's all I know, and that's all I want to know, because again, I don't want to know anymore going in, but all of that excites me. I haven't heard a huge amount. It might just be just the small area of booktube that I'm in, because booktube's so huge, you can't possibly see and hear everything. So there could be many booktubers out there reviewing this, raving about it, talking about it. But I heard so many people, it was in their anticipated releases and they were hyped for it. Haven't heard of many people actually reading it. I haven't heard of anyone reading it. So it's not like I've heard of people reading it but not enjoying it. I haven't heard of anyone actually reading it. So I really don't know what people feel about this book. So it's a bit of a mystery. But going off the premise, going off my initial excitement, I am excited for this book. So I have put it in I've put this in the #3 spot. But before I place it on the shelf, I will show you it in a little bit more detail. So underneath the dust jacket, again, we've got like a creamy a creamy colour, and then we've got a blue picture of a girl with sort of like a sea serpenty creature here. It's a really beautiful image. And then all the way down the spine we have it all in the blue foiling, and then the edges, it's this pale blue colour with a darker blue, and it is like this sea serpenty dragon stenciling on their spine, which is gorgeous. And the pale blue goes all around the edges. Then the end pages, the art is incredible on this. So we have a girl sort of on the, I suppose you'd call them like Korean docks. But you've got like mountains and all the buildings and the sky, and the colour palette is really pleasing. You've got sort of like teal and oranges kind of all mixed up together. And then on the back we have a different picture and a slightly more greenish colour palette, and we've got two characters. So we've got the protagonist, who I presume is the love interest, in a canoe boat on a lily pond. So all very pretty. So again, I think there is a romance in the story. Just putting the cover back on. So this one I said it's going to number 3 spot. So there it goes. I'm going to go in there, shut everything down a little bit. Okay. Then we come on to the April book, which is Blood Scion by Deborah Failyot. And this is much more of a military fantasy, I believe. It definitely sounds very military in this anyway. So this has got, I think, a much kind of darker, grittier feeling to it, which makes a nice change from the other books before, where I feel they kind of had much more of kind of a lighter, more whimsical fantasy element to them. So this will be very interesting to read. We have our protagonist on the front here, and she has, I'm not entirely sure what it is, but there's something about her, some kind of like magical ability that she possesses, or powers that she possesses, that makes her, if people knew, she would be executed, I think, if they knew that she had this power. And she joins the army, and I think it's kind of a mixture between her exploring to unleash her powers and how much trouble to cause, I think. Again, I don't want to know a huge amount before going in, so I haven't looked up any more that happens. And okay, yeah, and we have a tagline in this one. Did we have it on The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea? Sorry, I keep forgetting what I want to do with these books. Okay, yeah, so the tagline for The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea is, "Don't chase fate, let fate change them." I totally messed that up. Let me try that one more time. Okay, so we're back on The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea, and the tagline for The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea is, "Don't chase fate, let fate chase you." Oh, I really should stop making videos late at night, but it's the best time for me to film. So we're just gonna have to go with it. So the tagline for Blood Scion is, "This is what they deserve. They wanted me to be a monster. I will be the worst monster they ever created." Da, da, da. So in this one, we have some art on the back of the book jacket. So here we have our protagonist, and we have these wonderful, like really strong purples and indigos, and this sort of like, peach orange colour. So it's sort of like sky, cosmic powers, flames, all of that kind of showing her. Well, we've got the moon in the sky as well. Under the dust jacket, we have the front cover printed on the hardback, but without all the writing, so you really get to appreciate this really strong image of our protagonist. And it looks like it's sort of like through volcanic-y flames and like fire. It's fire smoke, smoky fire around her, and it's all in like these strong reds colours, very flamey. But on the spine we have sort of like this blue, and then we have this dark solid blue block colour all the way around on the sprayed edges, and the end pages are swirls of fire. sort of like volcano-y fire. And this one, oh, we also have like a little bit of a thing. I could read this little snippety bit on the book sleeve as well. I'm now going to go back and see what all the other ones have. Okay, Blood Scion, the little bit on the book sleeve, says, I am a descendant of Shango, the god of heat and fire. I am a living inferno. I am a dead girl walking. So there you go, a little bit of a taste of that one. I'm going to check the other dust jackets to do the same. Really should have planned this slightly better before just jumping in, but hey ho. And Blood Scion I have put in 6th place. So it's, I think, I'm hoping that I enjoy it more than only a monster. And I put it in there. Right, just going to go back and check the to see if they had anything that I can read out without giving too much away. Okay, so in Only a Monster, the bit on the jacket is, in every story there is a hero and a monster. Daughter of the Moon Goddess has one, and it says, there are many legends about my mother. ... And The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea is, deadly storms, an ancient curse, will her sacrifice save them all? Okay, right, let's see if I can actually remember that for the remaining books in here. Right, the May book was The Stardust Thief by Chelsea Abdullah. And this is another book that I was really excited to read. So this is another book that had a lot of hype before it came out, and it was another one that was on my list that I really wanted to buy. And of course, seeing it in the box was so exciting. And also, it's my favourite colour, it's purple. I love purple, and it's purple, so that is thrilling. Stardust Thief, again, don't know a huge amount. It is a desert fantasy, and that's all I know. I have actually read the first chapter of this because I did it for a tea and taste. But at the time I was it was a wintry kind of time when I was doing that, and I was really wanting kind of a more wintry book to kind of go with my wintry vibe at the time. But I really enjoyed the first chapter. I found it really interesting. We got introduced to our kind of like 2 different protagonists. And it all sounded really intriguing, and I liked the writing, so I have very high hopes for this one. So let me show you more of the book before I place it. So under the dust jacket, it's purple, which is exciting, and it's got gold foiling, and it has a compass and some stars. And gold foiling on the side. Oh, and it has words on the back as well. So this is the first one that actually has words on the back of it. And it says, neither here nor there, but long ago. And that is the tagline for this, because that is quoted a lot. There's nothing on the dust jacket, but under the flap it says, inspired by stories from 1001 Nights, the Stardust Thief weaves the gripping tale of a legendary smuggler, a cowardly prince, and a dangerous quest across the desert to find a magical lamp. Neither here nor there, but long ago. And the art, oh, and it's got block, sort of like lilac sprayed edges all the way around. And then the end pages, we have sort of like Arabian streets here with the little sort of like markets. And then we have our protagonist in a very fetching cloak, looking like she's about to do some sneaking. And it's all kind of purpley hues, which is very pretty. And then on the back, we have our protagonist and our 2 other main characters by some purple sand dunes under a purple starry sky. So I presume that's their desert quest that they're about to embark on. And I'm very excited by this one. I think I'm really going to enjoy this one. So I have put it in the number 2 spot. Oh no, don't bend it. Oh dear, destroying the book. So it's slotting in right there. June, we have This Vicious Grace by Emily Thende. So this one, the protagonist is like the ruler or the queen of this, like, makes me think of like a Sicilian island, like Sicily. There's lots of lemon trees and it's a hot country. And she has got to marry someone to like bring their island like a power balance or break a curse or something. But everyone she marries keeps dying, and I think she's had like 3 dead husbands now. So she's trying to like break this curse and save her island, and that's all I know about this one. This one is definitely a fantasy romance, I think, from everything it was saying. And it feels like a nice kind of like summery read, hence it coming in June, and that's just the vibe of all the lemon trees and things. So it's this nice like warm yellow cover. And on the back it says 3 weddings, 3 funerals, 1 more chance to save them all. And under the dust jacket it's little, does it say anything? Not really, I'll just read like the first little bit. So it says, Alessa's gift from the gods is supposed to magnify a partner's magic, not kill every suitor she touches. There you go. And this one's got a brown underneath the cover with a sort of bronzy gold, and we've got a protagonist and the title of the book sort of around it. And the spine has the gold, sort of like bronzy gold foiling as well. And then we've got yellow sprayed edges, but on the side they're sort of in the shape of lemons. Oh yeah, like lemons and vine leaves on the side, which is really pretty. And then the art pages, we have sort of like a dark summer night, and I presume this is our protagonist, who appears to be approaching a tree in the garden, lots of like yellow flowers and things around, and it appears to be like evening time. And then on the back we have, I presume this is the love interest, approaching the other side. So it's kind of like bookended imagery. So that is that one. I'm just going to put the dust jacket on here. And I do really want to read this one, but I feel that it's probably going to be one that I'm going to enjoy, but I might not want to read again. Just because I'm not quite as excited by the premise as I am about some of the other ones. So I've actually put this as number 11. So that's going all the way over here. At the end there. There we go. Da-da-da. Right, half done. Right, July. We have... So I'm just moving, I keep all the author letters and like the fairy scoop with like the author interview inside the books, so I kind of keep hold of them, but it's a bit annoying when I keep picking the books up. So this is The Darkening by Sonia Mara. Sonia Mara. And on the back it says, a fierce revolutionary, a desperate prince, together they will face the storm or be swept away. So this is kind of, this definitely kind of has like, feels very sort of like high stakes politics, kingdom fate feeling to it, and possibly has a bit of a hate to love. I'm feeling it may have a hate to love aspect to it. So this is where you have Prince of a Kingdom, and then you have the daughter of, I think one of her parents was like executed for like starting a revolution, and I think she's biding her time to like get her revenge and free her people. So you've got 2 conflicting things happening in this, so I'm really intrigued by all of that. And underneath the cover, no, it doesn't have another thing underneath the cover, and again I'll just read out the first paragraph. Prince Dalsa was born for one purpose, to protect his home from the storm, a deadly force that surrounds his city and curses everyone it touches. Vesper Vale is the daughter of failed revolutionaries. There we go. Since the Queen sentenced her mother to death by the storm, she and her father have been on the run. So I presume it's kind of them coming together to face an adversary. I really can't speak tonight. Adversary. So I'm really intrigued by this one. And we have this lovely teal sprayed edges, and then sort of like leaves or feathers. I think they're feathers. We've got sort of like this feather stenciling down the spine, which is really pretty. Oh yeah, we're sort of like getting feathers. So on the cover, you've got like the crackling of lightning and foiling, and then this kind of looks like feather wings on the front. So something to do with flight, perhaps, who knows? So let's have a closer look at the book. So we have a navy blue cover for this one, and kind of a symbolic foiling on the front. I have no idea what the symbols mean, but we've sort of like got interlocking squares and circles and dots in an overarching, and then the title. Then we have the title also in this gold foiling down the side. And then the end pages, I really like this art here. I really just love the difference in these two characters coming together here. It feels almost like quite biblical. So you've got the prince with the sun shining, and he's all in white. And then you've got the revolutionary girl with the storm lightning crackling around her in sort of like these dark colours, which looks really cool. And then I have no idea who these two characters are. But we have two characters who are in sort of like military wear. And we look like we've got sort of like a sun kind of feeling, and then sort of like a wind feeling. And this is, we've got like an animal, like a jaguar beast, fanged cat beast kind of coming off here. So I'm really intrigued by this one. I definitely want to know a lot more about this book. So I feel it could be, feel like it could be a really fun one. Sorry, just putting the cover back on again. So this one is in, yeah, so I've put this one in slot number 5. So it's ahead of Blood Scion. There we go. So far I have got 5 that I think I'm going to enjoy more than Only a Monster, which I did really enjoy. So I feel excited by that, and I hope I'm right. We then have Violet Made of Thorns, which was the August book by Gina Chen. So this is one that I have read. So the tagline is, "There's always a price for defying destiny." And the inside bit, there's not a tagline on here. But it says, "Violet is a prophet and a liar." So that's our protagonist. And this is one that I have read. And I didn't enjoy it, which is really sad. It sounded really interesting because it's got sort of like a clairvoyant, like prophecy character as our protagonist, which sounded really fun, and like her choosing whether or not she helps the kingdom or whether she looks after herself. It sounded really interesting, but unfortunately it didn't quite live up to the promise of the beginning of the book, and the end just felt really messy, and it just wasn't what I wanted from it. So that was a shame. Got lukewarm tea now, but never mind. It's really pretty. Underneath the dust jacket we have a printed on rooftops on the hardback, and I love this tower here. So this is the Soothing Tower where she lives. Really enjoyed her tower. Her tower was great. Like that, like the description and kind of the imagery of the tower that people used to go up to hear her soothsaying or fortune telling. I really enjoyed that aspect of it. So we've got the rooftops here and the sky, and I really love the colour palette. This sort of like sunset colours is really pretty. And we have, I think it's called ombre spray, where it goes from one colour to another. So we have, start off with like this dark purpley violet, and it goes down to this sort of like sunset orange, which is really pretty. So the top, it matches the same, and then the bottom. Oh, we have a ribbon bookmark in this one as well. And the end pages, it's the same at the front and the back, and it is our protagonist Violet sort of looking over the city from her tower. It's a really nice, it is a really nice artwork. It's just a shame. Oh no, it's not. I think it's the same, but it's not. So we have Violet on this one, and then we have Prince somebody. I've read it and I've totally forgotten his name. Cyrus? Cool. Then we have Prince Cyrus looking up at the tower from the bottom there in the garden. So that's that one. And yeah, it's one I didn't enjoy, and I will be rehoming it in some form or other. It's going to be unhauled because I'm not going to read it again, and there's no point having books on my shelves taking up space when I'm not going to read them. So this is number 12. I really hope that I much prefer all the rest of the books to that one. I hope that was just a one-off, me just not getting on with that particular book. So we're going to move on now to the September book, which was Belladonna. I'd heard nothing about this one. It's by Adeline Grace, and this is one that I have read, and this is the one that I really loved. It was so much fun. It's I really enjoyed the protagonist, who's Signa. I think it's Signa. So you have Signa, who was spared death. All of the rest of her family died. We don't know what happened to them. It is one of the mysteries of the book. But Signa did not die. But as a result, she can see death. And she can call on death when she has like a near-death experience, when she's kind of on the brink of dying. Death will come to her. So she has a very interesting relationship with death. Death is personified. I love death being personified. It's so much fun when that happens. There is some comedy of manners in here. There is tea drinking moments in here. There is a gothic feeling in here. There's a mystery. There's sort of like a estranged family going to their manor. There's some balls. We're introduced to different characters as part of like that society that she ends up in. And then there's her kind of working out like her own powers and abilities. And trying to work out what is it about her that's made her different and how did she survive. So we didn't get all our questions answered by the end, and there is another one. There is Foxglove, which is due to be coming out in August, I think, this year. I'm very excited, very, very excited for that. So yeah, I absolutely love Belladonna, and it was such a surprise about how much I loved it, because I thought I'd just enjoy it. I thought it was going to be on the same level as Only a Monster. I thought it was going to be really fun. I just loved it. I was really gripped by the story and pulled in. I really enjoyed the writing. I enjoyed the characters, and I'm very happy to spend more time with them. So we have a very kind of like dark book with like a sort of like purple and plum and sort of like, call it mauve. It has a dark reddy pink colour, and sort of like purpley greys colour palette. And under the dust jacket you have similar. So you've got like the Belladonna flowers and berries printed around the book. So it's focusing on the flowers. We've got sort of like birds on here that are slightly dead. One's alive and one's dead. So all that's kind of taken away, and it's just printed on the hardcover, which is really nice. The tagline for this is, "Your name is no curse, little bird. I just like the taste of it." And then under the dust jacket, on the dust jacket, we have, "For as long as Signa Farrow has been alive, the people in her life have fallen like stars." And the art under the dust jacket is a lot of fun again. We've got Signa and Death sort of it feels like a graveyard. We've got swirly smoke and plants and twirly bits, all very vine-like. And then we have sort of like masquerade ball feelings in the Gothic palace here. And we have this sort of hand of death coming out from the curtains. And I really like all of these sort of like death-like tendrils coming from the curtain and death that sort of look like smoke. But also it's kind of echoed within Signa's dark hair as well, sort of towards it. So I really like that, it's really cool. And I love these stenciled edges as well. We've got this purpley blue all the way around. And then we sort of like got this violety purple of the sort of the Belladonna plant along the long edge of the pages there. So yeah, and this I've put ambitiously in slot number 4, because I'm hoping, as much as I love this, I'm hoping there's 3 books that I enjoy more than it. So I feel a bit ambitious because I did love this one. So it may not happen like that, but I'm going to go with it. I'm going to go with it. So it's in slot number 4. 3 more books to go. Okay, these ones I do not know that much about. So the final 3 of the year all felt very dark. They all felt very dark. I have, first of all, the October one is One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. So here we have the cover. We have a girl in a red dress sat on a bridge between two towers, and we've got some sort of foiling on the corners, so it looks a little bit like an ancient book. Have we got a tagline? Nope, we don't have a tagline on the back. Inside we have, it says, "I was born with the fever, my blood dark as night." And under the dust jacket, it's quite hard to see the art in this because it is very, very dark. But we have two characters under the trees, sort of like dark greens and blues and greys, and then we have this, it looks a little bit like a lion with glowing yellow eyes, but it could be more of like a beastie wolf type of character. Printed on the hardback, we have this little rectangle, sort of like a portrait picture, done in silver, and then in it we have a beast, and you can't really make out the body, you can just make out its glowing eyes and then a moon over the top, so maybe like werewolf feeling, I don't know. And then again, it's really hard to see, but there are sort of like leaves really done in like a dark green sort of around it, but it's really hard to see. Weirdly, you can kind of see them better on the camera, maybe it's the light. So this is all printed on the hardback, and there's sort of leaves and berries on that back bit there. And the final page, the other end page, we've got 3 more characters. No idea who any of these are, and again, they're in the woods. Sort of almost like Robin Hood's Merry Men, just hanging out in the woods vibe. It's all very dark. There is an alternative cover on the dust jacket. So you've got the 2 protagonists, it's the 2 characters from the first bit, and there's more of the building, sort of like this castle amongst the trees. So it's sort of like dark fairy tale-ish feeling. And again, it's sort of along the vibes of trusting a dark spirit demon thing, and like, is this a good thing or a bad thing? And you've kind of got the gothic-y feeling of the house. Again, I haven't read the synopsis because I want to go in knowing little, but I do know that Jess from Me, Myself and I really enjoyed this one. She said it was a lot of fun, so that makes me feel excited by it. So this is the last one that I've put above Only a Monster. So I think it's going to be fun. I think I'm going to enjoy it, and I think I'm going to enjoy it more than Only a Monster. So I've put it in place number 7. So there we go. Which means the other 2, I feel I might not enjoy as much as Only a Monster, but definitely more than Violet Made of Thorns. So the November book was The Ones We Burn by Rebecca Mix, and it has the tagline at the top on the front cover, "I am a weapon, use me." And then on the back it says, "I am the monster, I am the shield, I am the knife in the dark." So again, getting more of a dark and gritty, spookier vibe. And we have this axe on the front here. But what I do enjoy is we have a very kind of different colour. We have very kind of different feeling from sort of like the end pages, and also the cover art. So the cover art is done in the style of the end pages. So this is the alternative cover, and it's all done in black and white. And we have 2 characters here, which makes me think it could be Sapphic, or it could be sort of like unlikely allies, enemies, close sister bond feeling, who knows. But we've got 2 female characters on here, and I'm just enjoying the black and whiteness of the colour palette there. Under the dust jacket, it's a black cover with copper, that's the one I wanted, with a copper picture of our protagonist, who has kind of very much like, it's not like sort of a Norse Saxon I'm going to say like a Norse Saxon warrior feeling to it. And here we have the two characters again that we've seen. So we have a little cottage in here as well, and lots of stars, as well as our two different characters. Neither of them look particularly friendly, so I feel it's a very kind of gritty world. And I believe that it is, again, more of a political fantasy and more of a war-based fantasy. And I think you've got kind of two different factions that are on different sides. But then I think they may team up because, like, the government is corrupt. The government-esque type of thing is corrupt. But I could be wrong. This is what happens when I have no idea what's going on. Then we've got two other characters here. Again in this black and white vibe. And this has like a tower and like, I think that's a sea. We've got a tower at sea under the sky. So I really like the end pages. So that really does intrigue me. So I'm quite excited about this one. But I've heard very mixed things. So we will see which way it swings for me. And the sprayed edges are, again, we have an ombre, so we've got an orange into black, which I think looks really cool. It makes me think of fire. This definitely makes me think of like I think it was a really nice pick for November because it definitely gives me that kind of bonfire feeling. I feel like it's a bonfire book. Sit around the campfire and kind of reading and scaring yourself slightly is the vibe I'm going for this one. And I think I put this as number 9. Yeah, so I put this as number 9. So I think I'm going to have fun with it, but maybe not enjoy it as much as Only a Monster. So I'm kind of being more on the fence of it. It might pleasantly surprise me, and I kind of hope it does. Which leads me finally to Cruel Illusions. So this one I feel really weird about. Sorry, my eyes are just so dry. I'm just going to have some more tea. Let's have a gulp of this tea. It is like on the verge of cold tea right now, but I'm just going to drink it. Okay. Wow, I've nearly done 50 minutes and I've only been talking about where I'm placing the books. This is insane. Maybe I should do this in several parts. Okay, fine. We'll do this in several parts. This is part 1. Especially now, this is part 1 of many. So, Cruel Illusions. I thought I was going to get a very different vibe because of the artwork that I'd seen for the book box. So I saw it was circus themed, and the colour palettes were purples and pinks and yellows, and it seemed very light and bright, and you've got these two girls on the front. So I had a feeling that it was going to be sort of like about sisters, about like a really fun sort of circus. And then if we look at this front cover, we have got a dark gothic castle, we've got dripping blood roses. This is not the same kind of vibe. So because I had that expectation, I don't feel as kind of warmly towards this book as I think many other people are, because I was just expecting something completely different. And I think because we'd had so many dark books, I was like, oh, December, Christmas, maybe it's going to be a bit lighter. Nope. Nope. Still very kind of emo-ish feelings to all these last books. Anyway, so I feel I'm possibly viewing this one, I'm not giving this one enough justice. So if I didn't have all of that preconception, then I probably would find it very pretty. If this was the October book, I think it was very pretty because you kind of are expecting to have sort of like more gruesome-y, bloody, creepy-ish gothic vibes for the October book. But anyway, this is Cruel Illusions by Margie Fuston. And the tagline, it says, win or die. And on the back, it says, a deadly competition, a magical secret society, a chance for revenge. And the cover is full of red foiling. And then under the dust jacket, we have very anime style art. Now, this is very cute, but like I said, I'm struggling with, this is not what I was expecting. So under the dust jacket, you've got two characters who look like they're just about to kiss each other. And it's just a simple black on red. So it looks very aesthetically pleasing. There's kind of like an anime style to the drawings, which is fine. But I just absolutely loved the circus art for, have we got it on here? We've got it on here. No, it doesn't show you. That's all on the spoiler card. Yeah, so it doesn't have the same art that was on like the card where it tells you like the theme of the book box. And I think because I love that so much, like this just doesn't quite compare for me. So here we have two characters. They look like they're doing some sort of like weapons training. It looks kind of like very modern, very kind of urban fantasy because they're in like modern day clothes. And we have this shadow here. I'm not sure what this is. Oh, it looks like a shadow of like a knife board. So like she's like, looks like she's knife throwing. So maybe that's her act in the circus because there's the circus theme to this. And then here again, we have sort of a gothic-y looking building and two characters in formal wear looking like they're dressed for a ball. And the sprayed edges are roses all the way along, which is all very pretty. So the book, I know very little about, but it is to do with a character who stumbles across a circus that's more like a magic circus. And there's some sort of vampire link, I feel, or vampire hunting link. And that's all I know. So I think, yeah, because of my general disappointment, I think it just kind of like went a bit lower. But there is a part of me that's like, well, maybe it'll be fun. Circusing, vampires, it could be fun. Or it might just not work for me at all. So I really don't know about this one. But I've put it ahead of this Vicious Grace because it could have a really fun fantasy world. And the circus it sounds quite interesting. So I have put it above that. But I'm not sure what I'm going to think of it. So there we go. So this is my... I can't even see Violet Made of Thorns anymore. Let me just do that. So there we go. Ah!